As a recognized student organization, you have access to various equipment and supplies. The Student Organization Resource Center, or better known as the Source, provides a space for both meetings and working on organization plans, such as having computer access to print flyers for your meetings and events. You can print up to 50 black and white copies, either on plain paper or color paper. We have games that you can borrow, devices that can be rented for checking in, and other useful equipment that can be used. There are also locker spaces that can be used throughout the year. We are limited to the number of lockers that are available, but they can be reserved on a first-come, first-served basis. All student organizations also have a shared email account. It is recommended that you use this so that you can easily pass information to future officers. There is other equipment that can be rented from Student Life and Leadership, such as the popcorn maker, cotton candy machine, tents, and games. We have also added a student organization bulletin board outside of the Student Life and Leadership office so that you can post all of your student org events and so that we can keep you informed on all of the things that you may need to know. Aladdin Catering is our food service vendor on campus and can help with your catering needs. With COVID-19, the only approved food service is prepackaged or must be store-bought or university provided. Food may not be prepared or served by a student or faculty and staff members at meetings and programs. This means that if you wanted to buy pizza for your event, that we wouldn't be able to have a large pizza that everybody digs in and grabs. You would have to have individual box slices, or you could do personal pan pizzas. Other options might be having Chick-fil-A, where they come and give you the sandwiches, Subway, where they're all individually wrapped. Anything that is shared amongst groups wouldn't be able to be used. They have to be completely prepackaged. Bags of chips would be okay that are single-size bags. If you have granola bars, those types of things would be okay for food consumption. Of course, you also need to make sure that you are maintaining social distancing when eating food. The alcohol use policy, in general, if you're going to have alcohol, there are different things that you're going to have to follow for that. So it's best to work with the activities coordinator in order to make sure that we're meeting the policies and the rules associated with serving alcohol. All student organization events that require traveling must be submitted into community with the required forms 3 weeks in advance. A full itinerary that includes connecting flights, hotels, transportation services, and rentals would need to be included with that. A financial budget of your trip, how you're paying for the trip. A list of each participant, including their hold harmless agreement. If you're going to be driving, a driver authorization form needs to be provided. This includes if you have rentals. And if you're traveling internationally, you need to make sure that you have the international insurance. This is optional for domestic travel. However, it is recommended that you get it just to protect yourself in the case that you're going to need to use that insurance. Some travel may require special accommodations that need more advanced planning. Again, though, with COVID-19, travel outside of Allen County or otherwise allowable by the university is strictly prohibited. Please see the Registered Student Organization COVID-19 policies for more information regarding student travel. When we are back to traveling, you want to make sure that you have an emergency plan in place. Always have backup plans in place in case travel arrangements unexpectedly change. Emergencies and other situations can always happen, and it's good to be prepared while traveling, both domestically and internationally. Here are just a few things to think of. Do you have extra money or a credit card for unexpected expenses? Do you know where the hospital or emergency services are located? Do you know where the nearest embassy or consulate office is located? Who will you contact in the case of an emergency? Do you have a university contact number if you need to reach out for assistance? Talk with your group advisor and the activities coordinator for ideas on how to prepare for such events while traveling. If you are having events on campus during the COVID pandemic, you will need to make sure that you have the COVID release for that. Other events may not need this. However, if there is an event that has an activity involved that has a risk of injury, you will need to make sure that you have a waiver release and hold harmless agreement. Additional media releases would be required if you're going to photograph people. All club sports will need to fill this out at the beginning of the semester with your team roster. These are used to protect your organization against any losses, liabilities, costs, damages, or other expenses which may arise as a result of an individual's participation in an activity being held. It is important that no activities occur in which waivers are not signed beforehand. This includes trips both within and outside of Fort Wayne. Video showcasing guidelines are another thing that we need to make sure that we're adhering to. Showing movies as part of an organization meeting requires following the federal copyright laws. Often showing a movie will require the purchase of a copyright license. This is not the same as purchasing a copy of a DVD or a digital copy. While there are some exceptions to this rule, it's best to work with Activities Coordinator for assistance in determining what's required for your organization's needs. Often student organizations want to have raffles. Unfortunately, games of chance, or raffles, are prohibited and must involve a skill in order to comply with state gaming laws. Examples of game of skill could be things like guessing the items in a jar, games or tournaments, or trivia. Prizes should remain under $50. It's easiest to have items that you can give away. However, if you'd like to give away gift cards, please work with the Student Life and Leadership Office or the Business Office for guidance. All non-Purdue Fort Wayne and IU Fort Wayne students or employees must fill out a volunteer agreement and registration form with Student Life and Leadership. Volunteers are subject to a background screening that will include, at minimum, a sex and violent offenders registry check. Any individual listed on a registry that is part of the university's sex and violent offenders registry check, or who have been convicted of an offense for which they must register as a sexual or violent offender, may not serve as a volunteer. It is recommended during COVID-19 that we limit non-Purdue Fort Wayne or IU Fort Wayne students or employee volunteers. However, if you decide to have a non-campus member volunteer or attend meetings, your meetings will automatically be capped at 25 total members, or as the room capacity determines. Please be sure that all volunteers have been submitted to Student Life and Leadership with contact information prior to event approval.